Today's lesson will be embarking on an insightful journey into a topic I know that will resonate with everyone, and it's beyond labels. Beyond labels. And I'm sure just the mention of this title some things would have gone through our mind about these labels, areas in our lives where we have been labeled or cut short or limited or tagged. So let's go into the lesson. In our daily lives, we often encounter labels, and these labels might come in the form of gender, age, ethnicity, so many things, so many groups, tags, and all that. And these labels start off sometimes innocently, but can lead to stereotypes. I mean, we've called these and we begin to act the way we've been called, labeled, or discrimination. And sometimes these labels influence how we are perceived and how we perceive ourselves. The things that the way we've been tagged, the way we've been labeled, sometimes it may affect the way we are perceived, the way we are received, the way we are accepted. And it may also sometimes affect how we perceive ourselves, how we see ourselves, because of the series of labels, tags that we have had over time. So when people are labeled and called names that reflect stereotypes, they can come to believe that what they are called is who they really are. What have you been called that somehow has gone into your subconscious and you're beginning to frame yourself, or you've accepted that this is who I am? I mean, sometimes it's in your family, nobody ever goes beyond this. This never happens. This is the limit that anybody gets to in this situation, in this office, or around here. And over time, we accept that and begin to walk within those confines that have been set by the externalities. In the same way, people who are labeled or treated with prejudice find it difficult to believe good things about themselves. They told you'll never do well, or nobody ever succeeds in doing this business, or nobody, certain limits, certain tags that we've been called over time. We've come to believe that that is who we are. It just narrows our mindset, and we'll begin to walk, like I said, within those limitations. And on another aspect, labeling can come in the form of, over time, you've heard it, it becomes like a self-fulfilling declaration or prophecy that you don't even know that you have accepted, and you're beginning to declare that to you. Oh, I never would try that because nobody succeeds when they do that. Nobody in my family succeeded. And you just benchmark yourself according to those tags or levels. Or nobody goes outside of this town and prospers. The area will consume you. What are those labels? You're beginning to prophesy those things to yourself. Those limitations. You're accepting it. What are those things we are accepting? And this will lead to a validation of false definitions. You don't define yourself based on those labels. You define yourself based on those limitations. How many of those labels can we think of that we have in our lives? I mean, times earlier in life where you probably wanted to do a particular course or subject, and you're told, oh, you never do that. You're not brilliant enough. You're not intelligent. You're not good enough. Or you're not patient enough. You can't fit into this particular profession. And you just accepted that for yourself and limited your expansion. And this self-fulfilling prophecy says that once a person is labeled, they tend to become that label. And one thing that happens when we listen or go through lessons is that when you're listening to it, you're thinking through your life. Which areas have I limited myself? Which areas have I accepted what people have told me? And it slowed me down, and it prevented me from making decisions that would have been expensive or expansive, that prevented me from opening up my wings and flying and trusting life to work out for my own good. If we think quietly, we'll find out areas where we've accepted what people called us and hindered ourselves from progressing. Ernest Holmes wisely pointed out, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. So if you accept the labels, the limitations, the tags that have been placed on you by externalities, by people, by things outside of you, that is what the universe will reflect back to you, because that's what you're putting in the hands of the universe to work with. And it will reflect those limitations. It will reflect those boundaries onto you. It's an action and reaction, reap and sow thing. So if we sow limitation, if we sow boundaries, if we accept those things, that's what will bear as fruits. And you wonder why you're stagnated, you're not moving forward. Because there's been an acceptance of things that limits you. So we want to also be conscious of that, because the universe is like a mirror, the life is like a mirror. It will always reflect back to us what we think into it. So this becomes particularly significant when we think about levels, what we accept. Do you hear things about yourself and you say, this is not who I am? And you reject it immediately. This is not who I am. And you begin to declare who you are, because you have an understanding that words are powerful. You have an understanding that labels can limit you. When you're labeled, it gets into your subconscious and you begin to walk, like I said, within those narrow-minded limitations. Okay, an instance, consider the power of positive labels on young people inspiring themselves to achieve greatness. Oh, you can do this. You're great. You've done this. You can expand. You can do this. Oh, you got an A. You can get a B. You can get an A. You can do better than this. Those positive things push people to do more. On the other hand, when we have negative labels, it can detrimentally affect individuals, causing them to view themselves as laggards, as never do well. Remember, sometimes these labels, sometimes they come in the subtlety of words. Oh, once they get into it, once you fall sick or you have this sickness, oh, that is it. Once it gets to this limit, stage 4, stage 5, oh, that is it. That's it. And we just accept that. So, of course, when we are here at this center, we want to challenge everyone not to accept those conventional things, labels. They're just limitations. If you understand who you are, that you're spirit being, you're divine, you have every attribute of God, of source within you, and you can manifest it, then you know those labels are not for you. We want to remind you always that you are the inlet and outlet of God. You're the totality of good of God. You have everything you need for life and godliness within you. Nothing can deter you, nothing can slow you, except you if you accept those limitations. You are whole and you are complete. You're beyond labels, you're beyond limits. You are unlimited. If you can just calm down and think, maybe just write down 10 attributes of the divine and begin to imagine and know that you can manifest those attributes because we are one with it. We also know that we live, we move, and we have our being in this divine substance. So knowing all that, would we allow ourselves to be limited by labels? No. So who we are can never be limited by labels, what we've been tagged, what we've been called. Our foremost identity is one with the divine. Like I said, and all the attributes of the divine, we can manifest it. You can manifest it. You don't need anybody. You have been created in that image, in that likeness. And we know in times like this, everybody is living in reaction because of all that is happening around. But we don't focus on that. As you come into this teaching, we want to embrace it. You'll come into the awareness that you are the center of creative intelligence. You know, we say this thing often, deep at the center of my being. What is the nucleus, the totality of who you are, the thing that makes you human, the thing that makes you who you are, it's divine. All we come here is to learn how to manifest that divinity that we are. So we want to, like I said, come to an understanding that you are the inlet and outlet of God activity. And there is power for good in the universe, and you can use it, I can use it. You don't need to go through any medium to access it. It's there available 24/7, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to speak, waiting for you to take action. It responds. All it does is to respond to you and to me. So all we gather each time is just to accept this, acknowledge it, and constantly invite it. Spirit, like Dr. Greg will always say, is not the uninvited guest. So we are one with Spirit. It's always there. Louise would often say, deep within the center of our being is an infinite well of love. We are all more than the sum of the labels and deserve to be seen as treated as unique. Wonderful. You're unique. There's no one like you because you're an individualization of God. Again, in our Louise Hay class, which is all about building self-esteem and self-awareness, because we know self-acceptance and self-approval are the keys to all positive changes. So when we go with self-acceptance, which is the key to everything, the key is self-acceptance. And Dr. Greg will always ask you to look deeply into the mirror. We always talk about this mirror work. When you look into the mirror, what do you see? Do you give yourself thumbs up? Or do you see those labels that you have been, how you have been labeled, and see guilt, shame? What do you see? And we learn through our tomorrow's class, Thursday's class, to look at ourselves and smile, admire yourself. Look beyond those labels, look beyond the imperfections, and see the beauty and see the truth that you are. Like I said earlier, you have been created in the image and likeness of God. Of course, we always talk about looking and saying, I love you, I love, accept, and approve of myself exactly as I am. Not to join our hands or ourselves with those labels and criticize ourselves. So we want to also be mindful of what we accept, and how we criticize ourselves. We have been criticizing ourselves, and it really has not been helpful. And not just that we criticize ourselves, we also criticize other people, and we label them. So we want to begin wherever we are, like we always say on our Thursday class. Just notice where you have been critical, labeling anyone or yourself. Sometimes we also put labels on ourselves. We want to stop right there and tell yourself the truth about yourself or the person you have an issue with. If it's with you, you can tell yourself, I love myself the way I am, or I love and accept and approve of myself exactly as I am. That's if you have attached labels to yourself. If it's to someone else, you can tell yourself that this person is whole and complete, and this person is doing the best that they can with the understanding that they have right now, and they are evolving. We're talking about beyond labels. We can let go of the need to label or judge ourselves, and let go of the need to judge anyone else, because those things are limitations. They're just barriers within our mind, our consciousness. And we want to embrace this teaching and know that everything is in divine order. There's something that happens when we accept ourselves. When we come to that level of acceptance, we open the door to positive change and development in all aspects of our lives. So we want to encourage you always to think and dream big dreams for yourself. Don't be limited by what you've been called. We want to encourage you to journal big ideas, to meditate upon the things that bring you joy, not the things that limit you. And how do we do this? It starts with you understanding that you are one with this one life, and you have unlimited potential. Each time I think about manifesting all the attributes of the divine, peace, love, everything divine, abundance, we can manifest it. Then why are we in such a situation where we'll limit ourselves? Because of lack of understanding. And that is what we gather each time here to learn, that everything that is divine we have, and we can manifest it. We come to learn how to use that power, that potential that is there for our own good. And there are so many ways we've talked about activating this thing. Quieting ourselves, going into meditation, seeking for answers within. Those things would come. There's nothing outside of you that would save you if there's anything like that. Everything you need is within you, is within. And Ernest Holmes would always say, we are in the express business. We are here to learn how to use our executive power and to think big ideas and to understand that we have power in our lives and we can learn how to use it. That's his quote. Emerson again says that we are individualization of God. That means we are the totality, each of us have everything, every attribute of God, we have it and we can manifest it. Dr. Greg on Thursday would always say, never, never, never criticize yourself. Because when you do that, you limit yourself. Those are forms of labels. You just label yourself, criticize yourself, limit your abundance. Never, never criticize yourself. If you have been doing that, what has come out of that? Has it resulted to any growth? Obviously not. But if we want to see progress, we have to do the inner work. It doesn't come overnight. It's work, it's gradual work. That's why we always talk about practicing. You hear this word, you practice, you tune in often, you learn about it, and you practice. It's time for us to create a holy pact with the most important person in your world. And of course, you know that you are the most important person in your world. It's a pact where you promise yourself to treat yourself with kindness and patience along the way. Engage in practices that nurture self-love, self-care, self-awareness. Because some labels have been there for a long time, so we want to learn how to love ourselves, be gentle with ourselves, unfold the divine that is within. You might start taking a pause more, using your affirmations more, and saying things that you are the truth that you are, not what you have been labeled. Learning to do the affirmative prayer, journaling, and tuning in as often as you can. I want to talk a little about one or two labels that we know, career labels. Some people have been labeled as just office workers or merely an assistant. And we know such labels can feel confining and overshadows the significant roles the person is playing. Oh, he's just an office assistant. And you just accept it. That's just what you are. It limits your expansion. If you wanted to further educate yourself, to improve on that, you'd be, oh, I'm just an office assistant, and you're limited by that role. There are other labels we also have. There are age labels. Oh, I'm too old. I can't do anything again. Or I'm too young. These labels can restrict people, suggesting limits based on age. And we know throughout history, individuals of all ages have defied these stereotypes and come up with great inventions. Young people, old people, people have blossomed at later years. All we need is just the understanding, the willingness to step out and go beyond what has been said, what we have been labeled. Because we have the power to do that. We can do that. You can do that. I can do that. Whatever it is that you've been labeled, not successful, that is not who you are. This teaching actually is to realign us to that understanding of who we are. I mean, we get dovetailed to the divine, that every power that the universe has, we have it already, and we can manifest it. I mean, each time we talk about the totality of the divine is within you, it goes to say that when you come to that understanding that you are limitless, nothing can limit you, nothing can slow you down, just you, except you don't want to step out. Ours is in the stepping out. The demonstrations come in the stepping out. He says faith and works. If you've been limited and you accept it and sit down, it takes hold. But if you hear this teaching and you know you can be expansive, you hear it, you walk towards it, you step out, you practice, there will definitely be demonstrations. So let's go. I give you some affirmations. I'll get more later. Some affirmations to counter some of these limitations, labels. I am more than the label. I am a unique blend of divine creativity and human resilience. My worth is intrinsic and immeasurable, not defined by societal perceptions or expectations. I am more than the labels. You are more than that. I am more than the tags. I am more than the limitations. I am more than the sickness. I am more than those barriers. I am more than the challenges. And not just that you are more, you are divine, you are whole, you are complete. You are the fullness of the divine. There's a story here about the Garden of Diversity. Consider the story of a small village garden known for its diverse flowers. Each flower labeled for its supposed symbolism. Each flower in this garden has been labeled for its specific attributes. And is always appreciated only for that singular quality. Listen very carefully. However, an insightful gardener saw beyond these labels, understanding the multifaceted nature of each flower. Each flower is being tagged, labeled, because of its smell. That anybody that comes, they go to smell that specifically because of that. And they're blindfolded to see other attributes of that flower because the flower has been tagged this. Just like people have been tagged never do well. And so when you come, you just see that never do well. And when you come, you just see that tag, that limitation. Until for this flower, another gardener comes and sees other things beyond that particular attribute. And that is how it is with life. Different tags have been placed on us, and we just narrow ourselves to that. But again, we are grateful for this teaching that gives us an expansive mind that will liberate us to understand that we are more than what people perceive us or say about us, that we can take off that cloak and walk into our expansion. And like I said, this story mirrors our lives, reminding us that, like flowers, each person is a complex individual full of qualities that go beyond any label. I have another story about Richard Branson. Of course, we know him. He has dyslexia when growing up, and he was tagged that he would never do well, and was not doing so well in school. But we know that over time he became a billionaire and had great businesses. Meanwhile, this was someone that has been tagged or labeled with all the negative things. But he has a resolution within him. He knows that he is more than everything he's been called. He knows he has this power and he can use it. And it's a case of, if anybody can do that, you can also do that. Because you have this power within you and you can use it. So as we embrace self-acceptance, the need for external validation diminishes if we come to an understanding, a knowing of who you are. If you know the power that you have, if you know what you have at your disposal, you are not affected by whatever you've been called. You are not affected by anything outside of you. It comes and you'll be, oh, I'm beyond this. Because you know who you are. So anything, statements, labels contrary to who you are, you reject it. And that is that is basically what we gather here to learn. Who have you come here to be? If we know that, then every time, we'll never accept any limitations to our lives or labels. So we learn to work on the inside, which outpictures and shapes our experience of the world. Every work is inside. We work on the inside and it shows on the outside. The opinion of others lose their grip on us because we learn to find peace and validation within ourselves. Again, recognizing that we live, we move, and will have our being in this divine substance. So whatever you have been labeled as, those things, that they are cloaks that you can take off and drop. And it would happen when you understand who you are, self-acceptance. You know you have the totality of God, or the divine in you. And not just that you have it, you can manifest it. I can, you can. So if we want to write down things that we've been called, tagged, labeled, and begin to take them off with your affirmations, with your treatment, get particular treatments for specific labels. Or they said this will never happen, and you create an affirmations to counter that and keep saying it until you feel it. I have a few more affirmations on self-acceptance. Every day I choose to break free from the labels that confine me, embracing my limitless potential. Every day I choose to break free from the labels that confine me, embracing my limitless potential. I celebrate the diversity within myself and others, recognizing the beauty in our collective human experience. So as we continue our exploration tonight, let's remember Louise Hay's powerful words. The power is within you. The answer lies within you. All you need to do is look within, listen, and trust. Said in a different form, you have everything you need for life and godliness within you. So the essence of our practice here is to trust and nurture our divine connection and our infinite potential. All we gather is to get on that journey of self-discovery. Although it can be challenging, but it can be enriching and rewarding. Always, always, when you discover yourself. So, again, just to stress it, we are unique expressions of this divine life, each with our own incredible qualities. You are divine. You are an individualization of divine. Some more affirmations, just two more. I am unique. I'm a divine creation, constantly evolving beyond societal levels. I'm a unique divine creation. You are a unique divine creation. And we are constantly evolving beyond all the labels, family labels, societal labels, all the things that have been tagged. I see the beauty and potential in myself and others, embracing our true selves beyond the constraints of narrow definitions. So let us move forward from this space, inspired and empowered, to live beyond labels and seeing ourselves and each other as divine. The labels, yes, they can say anything they want, but do not accept the labels. They will limit you, and you have every power within you to live beyond those labels. The labels do not define a truth student. What defines us is our connection, our oneness with divine, and that is who we are, and that is who we will manifest once we practice this teaching. So thank you all for being here, and so it is.